You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hi, folks. It's Voss here from thechrisvossshow.com. There you go, ladies. When the Iron Lady sings that, makes it official. Welcome to over almost 17 years and 2,400 episodes of the Chris Voss Show, bringing you all the most brightest minds, the coolest people, the wonderful stories, the things you can learn from them. For your family, friends, and relatives, go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, linkedin.com/Chris Voss, and facebook.com/Chris Voss. Did I do that one already? We're just all over the internet. Just search the Chris Voss Show and Chris Voss. Today, we have an amazing young man on the show. We're talking about his book, his insights, his journey of life, and what you can learn from it to make your life better. Silas Toney joins us on the show. He is the author of the book that came out August 25th, 2023, called Seasons, The Beautiful Transition. And we're going to get into that book with him and everything else. He was born in Sumter, South Carolina. He is no stranger to the ebb and flow of life's experience. The youngest of 9 children, was not initially drawn to books. As a child, he wondered about the magic of writing and how authors could craft so many words and what gave them their weight. Many years later, Toney not only found his voice, but also began pondering the weight of words in a deeply personal way. Welcome to the show, Silas. How are you?
I'm doing great, Chris. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Thank you, and thank you for coming. It's an honor to have you. Give us your .coms. Where do you want people to find you on the interwebs?
Yes, my book, Seasons, The Beautiful Transition, is on Amazon.com. It's at BarnesandNoble.com as well. You can find more information about me on Facebook, Instagram as well.
There you go. So give us a 30,000 overview. What's inside this new book?
Yes, Seasons, The Beautiful Transition. I think it's a poetic journey through life seasons. I try my best to parallel the seasons of life with the seasons of nature. Right. So Seasons, The Beautiful Transition. Normally when we just entered summer, real hot way here in North Carolina. But just before summer starts, spring and summer, there's this transition that happens. And I often wonder when other people are thinking about, well, I want the seasons to go ahead and just begin. I'm thinking, what possible wisdom is spring passing on to summer in this transition period? What could they possibly be talking about? So that's where the word transition comes in, and it speaks to seasons. We all go through seasons of life. We have seasons of difficulty, seasons of great joy, and hopefully what the reader will get from this book is that seasons are just that. They're seasons. They don't last forever. So if you find yourself in a difficult season, just hold on. This too shall pass.
There you go. There's that one song about the time of the season. You know that song I'm talking about? I think the Zombies did it. Or somebody did it. Times, but this is an interesting thing. I've never really thought about making parallel the seasons of time and the seasons of your life, and that makes sense. I mean, sometimes we do go through like these troughs or these high points and sometimes challenging times. And I like what you're saying, just keep going, right?
Absolutely. You have to keep going, and learn what you can. If it's a difficult season, while you in it, it's hard sometimes to see any beauty in it because while you in it. So we live life going forward, but we really understand it looking back. We can look back and say, wow, I see now, I understand now. But again, while you're in it, it's very difficult. So
Mm.
you don't want to give up. It's the season will end.
Mm. That's interesting. I've always wished, there's lessons it seems like we have to learn in life, or, we talked about this earlier today on the show, that, it seems like, and I don't believe that there's some sort of master puppeteer in the sky with the sadist sort of mentality, or books that describe that sort of thing. But, everyone's got their own thing that they need to believe to get through life. But I kind of feel like sometimes, the universe is a survival. It's a game of survival, right? It's,
Right.
you can get hit by a bus one day and you're gone. I mean, this is how it goes. There's disease, pestilence, lions and tigers and bears, and earthquakes, and I don't know. I don't have a joke to round that out at the end. I went on a wander looking for the punchline and I couldn't find it. So there you go. But we go through these things, and I wish that whenever life or the universe wants me to learn something, instead of putting me through the lesson, if it could just like call me and be like, "Hey, would you like to get with the shit kicked out of you for a season, or you want to read a book that'll fix this so you don't have to go through this?" I'll be like, "Hey, I'll take the book anyway." Or the movie, one of the two. But that's not the way it works. But yeah,
No, it does, and nothing teaches us like experience.
that's true. And some people don't learn from experience either. They keep doing the same thing over and over again too. So it's probably important in your book where you talk about, learning from these seasons, regardless of whether good or bad or ugly.
Absolutely. Again, here in North Carolina, I know in the beginning of spring, we have a lot of pollen, and the pollen wreaks havoc on those with that allergy, right? And but also it's the beginning of a new year, it's the beginning of a new season. Flowers are blooming and all that stuff, and all this newness is happening right in the midst of that. And you don't sweep any of those negative things under the rug, of course, right? But what are you going to give your attention to? Are you going to give your authority to just what's irritating you, or would you be able to give some authority to the beauty that's happening in the midst of that?
Yeah. And I love that concept. I call that gratitude moments. And one thing I've learned going through a few dichotomies in my life where, I just pretty much got destroyed. The By whatever was happening in life, the 2008 recession, killed, it just wiped out a ton of people. And what I've learned to do is, instead of looking at what I'm lost, because I never really owned that anyway,
Right.
looking at what I can learn from it, what I can gain, and then also appreciating what I have. When COVID hit, I was losing hundreds of thousands of dollars in a business we built for 5 years at events, and the events closed, and money just
Right.
burnt. And um, and in looking at it, it also changed my trajectory of life. I'd spent most of my life chasing money, money, cars, girls, assets, all the things, right?
Right.
And it made me realize that my family was more important to me than anything. My mom, my sister, that are still in my life, and they could be taken from me in an instant. My friends could be taken from me in an instant. And I realized that, like, the cars, the money, all that bullshit didn't really matter on the long end of things. And so, like what you said, take and try and see what you can learn from this, and have a moment of gratitude and appreciation. That really helped to ground me. And in grounding me in that way, I found that also helps me create the leaping point from where I need to move forward from there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've viewed one of your podcasts before, and you mentioned your gratitude Sunday, and I
Yeah.
think that is such an awesome idea. We need to take time out to do that. I
Mhm.
have this one thing that happened to me a couple of years ago. I normally drink a lot of water before going to bed, so one of my
Mm.
first things is to hit the bathroom in the morning. And I remember this particular morning, I made my way halfway between the bed and the bathroom, and I just stopped in my tracks and realized how effortlessly I got out of bed. with no pain, didn't need any assistance. And right there in between the bed and the bathroom, I just began to thanks,
Mm.
to give gratitude for all those things, for mobility, for dexterity, for all of those things that because they're so common that we take them for granted. But there are a lot of people who need assistance to get out of bed. And it was just a moment for me to show some gratitude. So
Hmm.
those times are very, very important.
Yeah, they help ground you. So, what are some aspects or techniques or lessons that you talk about in the book that maybe we can tease out to people to pick it up?
Absolutely. I'm gonna go back on talking about the difficult times that we have.
Hmm.
Um, and sometimes life can really give us a good uppercut, right? Unexpected,
Felt
a good
those.
uppercut, right? And
I get the
and
body
again,
blows.
yes, and in that moment, it seems like that's all your life is about. Like that's the sum
Hmm.
of who you are.
Hmm.
And I relate it to a sentence. If you've ever had to write anything, um, for school or for work, some sentences are so difficult to form.
Hmm.
And sometimes we get to points in life where it's just very difficult and it seems like that's all there is. But really, it's just a sentence in the story of your life. It's not your entire book. It's
Hmm.
not your entire book. And some of them, they're laborious. They're hard to make sense of. There's no rhyme or reason, no subject verb agreement at all. It's just difficulty.
Hmm.
But again, if we hold on, we will
Hmm.
be able to look back and realize that was just a sentence in the story of my life.
Ah.
It is not my entire book.
Hmm. I like that concept. The story of your life, your book, or maybe your movie. I remember years ago, decades ago, I met this gal, and she came to one of my parties at my house, and I ended up taking her home and dropping her off because she was she had too much booze. And I remember as I was pulling up to drop her off to her house, she said, well, it's been fun to meet you, and you've been an actor in my film of my life, the movie of my life, or something to that effect. And I was like, really? What is that about? And she goes, my life is a movie. It's flowing, and there are people who come in and out and play parts and scenes, and you played a part today. And I was just kind of like, that's an interesting perspective way of looking at life. I never really thought of it as a book, like you say, or a movie. Up
Right.
until then, I was kind of like, yeah, it's just life, just doing shit. But I never thought of like, yeah, this is kind of a documentary, and maybe I don't know, but it's a people come in and out of your life. You have these experiences, and like we always say on the show, stories are the lessons of life. The stories are the owner's manuals of life. I mean, you can have we all have some good stories and we all have some bad stories,
Right.
and a lot of times if you learn from those bad stories and made yourself a better person, or try to avoid them in the future, um you wouldn't be the person you are without those bad times and those bad stories, those bad seasons, if I can play on your book there.
Absolutely. Those bad seasons, they help shape and
Hmm.
make us who we are today because there's certain things that we're only going to learn in those seasons, in bad
Hmm.
times. There's certain things that we're only going to consider when we're dealing with a difficult time.
Hmm.
You on the mountaintop, you're not going to learn it. It'll only be in the valley, those things. Unfortunately, it'll only be in the valley
Look at the valley.
that we learn certain lessons and we
Mhm.
really begin to value life. We really begin not just our life, others' lives. We really begin to see the importance of family,
Mhm.
spending time with family, friends, and all that thing, and doing good, doing
Mhm.
good. There's nothing that teaches us that better, again, unfortunately, than those bad times.
Ah, I like again. Like I say, I would appreciate it if they could just call me and let me
Of
know.
course.
Hey, would you like to go through some bad things, or you can take this course and you won't go through bad things? Which sounds better to you? And I'll be like, I'll take the course, sir. Yes.
Wouldn't that be great, huh?
let me
But
do
not
that one.
so.
I got enough problems as it is. And but no, I guess I mean you're right. It's the adventure of what we learn. So tell us what motivated you on to write this book.
The I think just the beauty and joy of nature
Mm-hmm.
itself. Like I say, I've always been interested in that transition period between, specifically between winter and spring. There's something that happens. If there's this play, there's this dance between them, what I call it, when the proud winter is not ready to leave, but the highly anticipated spring is ready to come. You get a warm day in February, and trees begin to bud, and then you get a cold snap, and then they die, and it's this dance that happens. And I just was very observant of that,
Mm-hmm.
and I wondered what was going on, like what wisdom was winter trying to pass on the spring. And
Mm.
may I read from my book? Because I think that
Please.
would, yes,
Sure.
I will read that part, and that will definitely help,
There you go.
I believe. Yes. So this is called Spring
Mm-hmm.
on the Horizon. For everything there is a season. He has made everything beautiful in its time. He has also set eternity in the hearts of man.
Mm-hmm.
It's Ecclesiastes 3:11. Spring on the horizon, and all the days of winter not yet fulfilled. Winter proclaims, "This is my time. Shall not all my days come to pass?" After all, are there not four seasons? All the while, spring with great expectation awaits her triumphant entry. The excitement at which spring anticipates her moment expressed in the early budding. Hints of green invade the skyline, blossoms of color dot the landscape. Her fragrance, like none other, arises. She can barely stand it. Beautiful is this transition. Cold nights that lead to cooler mornings, mornings met with coats and sweaters. By noonday, garments are shed, welcoming the warmth of the bright sun and the melodies of a songbird.
Mm.
Still teased with an east northeasterly breeze, just strong enough to fully enjoy the warmness that spring offers and the fading glory of a proud winter.
Mm.
Trees swayed in an almost slow motion, likened to a dance in rhythm with the wind. The sun's brilliance, soft, evokes smiles of gratitude. Nostalgia overtakes the senses. Cotton candy clouds painted against a magnificently blue canvas. A surprisingly yet inviting kiss on the cheek by the last days of winter and the first days of spring. Spring calls out to winter. No, she beckons him. Come away with me. Rest and be renewed by my first fruits.
Mm.
Winter joyfully surrenders. So in that space in between, this is the conversation they're having, spring
Mhm.
and winter. And I think what we can learn from it is knowing when a season in life is ending and knowing when a new one is beginning, and also being willing to let go of those things in the old season that will do us no good in the new season.
Ah,
In the spring, winter coats would make us miserable. So
yeah.
we need to let them go. Just like sometimes people come into our lives and they're only in our lives for a season. And so when they leave or when we feel them pulling away, sometimes we can try to hold on too long. And sometimes we have to realize that we were in each other's lives for just a season and
Mhm.
being willing to let go so you can move on freely into the new season.
Yeah. That's really important as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The let's see. So Tell us about what is your favorite season? What do you like the most?
Fall is my favorite season. Again, to me, well, we're coming out of a hot summer normally, and it's just this sense of gratitude I think that arises overall because as we're approaching Thanksgiving, Christmas, I think in autumn this sense of gratitude just arises. The weather is cooler
Hmm.
and food is good all year round. But when fall hits, as we're going into the holiday season, food just gets so much better. The colors of fall, the sense of gathering with family and friends and enjoying the harvest of the past seasons,
Hmm.
and it prepares us for Thanksgiving, for Christmas, those major holidays. It's just a beautiful time of year. You can open your window, give your AC a break.
Yeah. So, tell us about your upbringing. What were some of the things that influenced you when you were growing up, and uh, all that? And you grew up with 9 kids in your family. Tell us what that experience was, and that maybe how that shaped you.
Yeah, growing up, grew up on a farm. So every day after school, we had chores. It was either planting, watering, or weeding, chopping wood, for the fireplace, that type stuff. It was a good time.
Hmm.
We were busy. It was a lot of us, so we were never bored.
Hmm.
There was a lot to do. We were never bored, and I think that community, that sense of community, the sense of having people around, it really it really helps shape you. It really helps form you. And so growing up, again, like I said, I was not an avid reader, but I always wondered. I'd see these thick books, text school books, and wondered, how did authors come up with so much? How did they
Hmm.
craft so many words?
Yeah.
And I remember one of my favorite books was in The Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens.
Hmm.
And I remember the imagery that's in that book as you read it. He talks about the perils of the French Revolution, and
Hmm.
I remember reading that in junior high school, and it was like I was there. The
Hmm.
imagery was that rich.
There you go. And so, how did you know when you were a writer? When did you start writing?
Wow, when did I know I was a writer?
Yeah.
Wow.
Or when did you start writing? Some people, they kind of muck about, they write poems, they kind of play with it, and then finally it kind of cements one day, and they start writing prose and writing books.
Absolutely. So it wasn't that long ago. I just remember normally after a church service, I would go home and ruminate on what was said, and then I would write something of my own just for me.
Hmm.
And I believe so. Poetry, poems, I think started for me like in 2014.
Hmm.
I remember writing what I would consider my first poem.
Hmm.
And it's called How. He's God, that's how. Again, it was after listening to something.
Hmm.
And but performing and going to open mics, I didn't start that until 2022 actually.
Hmm.
Didn't start that to 2022. I wrote the book. Initially, it was released in 2021. I did a redo in 2023. But
Hmm.
I'm writing is it's just a beautiful way to I have a friend here in Fayetteville, North Carolina. He's a poet himself. His name is Neil Ray, and he always says the pen well the paper will always have time for you. Your pen and paper will always listen to you. It'll never tell you to be quiet. And so when you need to express yourself, writing is one of those ways you can do that.
Oh. There you go. And it's such a great way to put down your thoughts to paper, to try and figure things out. It's great for journaling and all that good stuff. There's a lot of great stuff that could go into it. So, yeah. And so this is your first book, is that correct?
Yes.
Is there anything you have a future one you're planning on maybe?
Yeah, there is a future one. There is a future book that's coming. Yes.
Cool. Do you want to tease it out a little bit, or want to keep it a secret so we don't let anybody copy what you're doing? Got to be careful out there.
Yeah, you do. You do. Yeah, I'll give the title. The title is called um Perspective, the
Hmm.
weight of a word.
Mm-hmm. There you
Yeah.
go.
So
Perspective is
and
really important.
it is, and we have to understand the weight of the words we use as well.
Mm-hmm.
So perspective, the weight of a word.
The weight of the word and the
Yeah, the
power
weight
of
of a word.
words. Yeah, there you go. The weight of them.
Absolutely.
So I like that. That's great. As we talk about these things, let's see here. What do you want people to walk away with after they read your book?
Yes. So for first, the book is for everyone. It's for a CEO that's going through a season and not seeing the profits they want. It's for a teenager in high school, maybe struggling in a certain subject. So it's for anyone. And what I want the readers to get is that the season that they're currently in,
Mm-hmm.
it won't last forever. It won't last forever. It's learn what you can in the seasons of life. Just know that this too shall pass, that this too shall pass. Just be strong, continue to move forward, and just understand that those lessons that you learn in this season, you will be able to help someone else going through that same season because you're going through the difficulty not just for yourself, you're going through it because you're going to be able to help someone else through that same seasons. So these seasons are teaching us, they're preparing us to be mentors, they're preparing us to come alongside each other and just really be a cheerleader for
Mm-hmm.
people when they're going through difficult times. So I'm just hoping that people see the hope in seasons and that they'll be able to see the beauty in every season that they're in because there is beauty in every season. And the hope is that they'll be able to see that beauty, lock onto that, and that's what will carry them through the next season.
There you go. Look at the beauty, find the beauty.
Yes.
Sometimes I've had to do that where I've had to, go for a drive up in the hills or in the country and go someplace where it's quiet and peaceful and try and find myself or rebalance myself. One of my favorite seasons is fall. And visiting up here in Utah, and in Utah, the fall and the canyons here with the mountains, the fall is just beautiful. It's just tons of beautiful leaves
Right,
and
right,
you go up there and there's something about it. I don't know why, you know, and there's something peaceful going up to a drive. Sometimes I go up in the canyon. There's a lake house up there that has a fine dining place that makes beautiful food, and you can sit on this porch that hangs over the water, and you can enjoy this beautiful slapping of the waves, the water there, the
right.
mountains, the sunset, and learning to appreciate that beauty, like you talk about, is really important, and it kind of grounds you, kind of
It does.
resets you, it kind of refills your bucket.
Absolutely. It
Hmm.
really does.
Hmm.
It reshifts your focus
Ah.
because whatever we focus on is going to be magnified. So
Hmm.
if we just focus on the problem, then yeah, that problem is going to seem insurmountable.
Hmm.
But like you say, if we take a reprieve, we take those long drives and just, you know, begin to focus on something other than the problem, it
Hmm.
can really redirect, our mood, our attention, and everything. So we need those times to just to get away from it
Yep.
all, so to
Yeah.
speak.
Do that reset. The I tell you, man, sometimes you just need it. I've kind of found that I need to make sure that I take care of myself on the weekends, and I go do something, and I get a chance to relax and all that good stuff, and I find that it can really help me. So, it's just one of those things that you got to do. What are some of your favorite authors?
Well, like I mentioned, Charles Dickens
Mm-hmm.
is one of my favorite authors. I like Maya Angelou. Um, love
Mm-hmm.
her poetry. I can't believe I just drew a blank.
We tend to do that when we put you on the spot on the show. Sometimes we shine the light in your
Yeah, we
face,
do.
go
But yeah,
and
those
put you on the spot.
definitely. Yeah, those two. Yeah,
Do
the
you remember
imagery.
the first story you ever read and the impact it had on you? Was there a story that you can remember that stood out, or a book that stood out on you?
Yeah, there was probably not the very first one, but again, I go back to Charles Dickens because when you open up The Tale of Two Cities, in the first few pages, he has that poem about he has this poem that just it just blew me away the first time I read it.
Mm.
Yeah, and he mentions the seasons in it. Like there's it was the winter of despair. It was the spring of hope. It was the winter of despair. Again, he's talking about all these beautiful contrasts that are happening at the same time during the French Revolution. The winter of despair, the spring of hope,
Hmm.
and all he goes on and that, and it was just and I'm not sure why, other than the imagery that, like I said, the book, it took me. It's like I was there experiencing it when I read that. The imagery is so rich in that book,
Mm.
Tale of Two Cities.
The Tale of Two Cities. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. And what was the line that opens from that? It was the worst of times, it was the best
Yeah,
of times.
that's it. It was
There
the
you go.
worst of times, it was the best of times. You see those beautiful contrasts, the worst of times, it was the best of time. It was the age of foolishness, it was the age of wisdom, it was the age of incredulity.
There
I
you
don't
go.
recall all of it, but
Yeah. Yeah. The
beautiful.
pretty interesting.
Yeah, beautiful
So
contrast.
as we go out, final things you want people to know about, and what she's interested in, or what people might be interested in.
Yes, I would like to mention today because today there's an anniversary that happened, and
Hmm.
I'm not sure if you are aware of it. And I would like to share a poem I wrote about it as well.
Hmm.
It is this is the third anniversary of the overturn of Roe versus Wade. And in 2019, then President Trump, during his State of the Union address, he mentioned, abortion, and he spoke about it from the State of the Union address, and I believe it needed to be stated from the highest office in the land.
Hmm.
And when he did that, here in North Carolina, there were some legislations passed that offered the unborn some more protection. And I was celebrating those little victories. And and so I asked God, I said, God, what would the unborn say to us if they could speak? To whom would they direct their plea for the right to live if they could speak? And I'd never thought to ask that. And so I began to write.
Hmm.
I am one who's remembered. I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. Oh, that I might live so my soul can know it full well. I hear of royal priesthood, holy nations, those set apart for the master's use. Could he be speaking of me? Please hear my plea. Who will stand for me? Is it
Hmm.
not the same as standing for thee?
Hmm.
When you've done it to the least of these, you've done so unto me. Let me live that his spirit may dwell in me. Tell me, how could my existence be met with such strife? Are you unaware I was created by the way, the truth, and the life? His image on me, now full of worth, just like you, in this he created before my birth. Mom, Dad, I'm his offspring, not some unknown thing. This you must know. Your own poets have said so. Knitted together in you by his hand, not by man. Mom, Dad, church, you've been lied to. This is not the way. Call on him, I pray. He's known for making a way out of no way. And church, my Savior, I long to know. I fear without your help, I'll cease to grow. Will you fight for me that I too may proclaim the awesomeness of his name? I am the plea of the unborn.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
Thank you. So as we go out, give people .coms, social media. Where can people find you on the interwebs?
Absolutely. Seasons to Beautiful Transition, Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com. I'm on Facebook, Instagram. That's Silas Toney, SILASTONEY, on Facebook and Instagram.com. And there you have it.
There you go.
There you go.
Well, thank you very much for coming on the show. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for offering this awesome platform. It's an honor to be on the show with you today, Chris. Thank you.
And it's an honor to have you as well. It's given me some perspective on how I should think about seasons now, and maybe I should have some more gratitude and grounding. And I'm probably going to enjoy. Well, we're probably a ways from fall, right? It's probably about 3 or 4 months to fall.
Yeah.
But, maybe I'll enjoy summer. That's for sure. I always
yeah.
Summer is my favorite season. I wish it could be that way. Living in Vegas is that way year round, technically. So anyway, thank you very much, Silas. Order up his book, folks, wherever fine books are sold. It is entitled Seasons, The Beautiful Transition, out August 25th, 2023. Thanks so much for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss One, the TikTokity, and all those crazy places on the internet. And I think we had some people come in. Maybe TJ Toney?
Yeah, that's my son.
That's really, he says, I love you, Dad. Love this man of
love
God.
Love you too, son.
And great interview. Thank you very much, folks. We really appreciate it. To mountains, go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you guys next time.